Thank you for the opportunity to share my thoughts on our vision for Sasol and how we are responding to the climate challenge. So Sasol is excited by the constitution of this commission and believe that through its leadership and guidance, South Africa will be poised for a just and equitable energy transition. We are all aware that the current expectations to manage climate change, if not met, could result in South Africa being isolated from international markets. In light of this and the wide-ranging implications of climate change, a coordinated presidential process is essential, driven in an integrated way to take the best interests of the country into account, all the while being fully cognizant of our pressing national aspirations and circumstances. So for today's session, I was asked to share my perspectives on how Sasol, as a large emitter, is responding to the net zero challenge. Taking action on climate change is central to our strategy and a significant strategic concern for Sasol. Indeed, it is an issue that energy companies the world over are grappling with. The Paris Agreement set in motion global recognition to act with greater urgency to limit global warming to well below 2 degrees Celsius, above pre-industrial levels, and to pursue further efforts to limit this increase to 1.5 degrees Celsius. Latest science shows that net zero emissions are required, where residual emissions are balanced by an equal amount of carbon dioxide removals, neutralizing any further impact on the planet. The next decade is deemed critical for emission reductions to prevent more extreme natural disasters, ecosystem impacts, and to safeguard the quality of life for future generations. At the outset, let me unequivocally state that Sasol supports the Paris Agreement, and we continue to explore opportunities to contribute to South Africa's Paris Agreement objectives. At the same time, we are mindful of our country's socio-economic context and are determined to work with all our stakeholders, including labor, government, communities, NGOs, and others on a transition that is just. Decarbonisation is a strategic imperative for Sasol, informed by our 3-pillar emission reduction framework of reduce, transform, and shift. We are reducing our greenhouse gas emissions, transforming our operations, and shifting our portfolio to products more suited to a low-carbon environment. Since 2004, we have achieved a 13% greenhouse gas reduction. In 2019, we committed to a further at least 10% reduction by 2030 from a 2017 baseline for our South African operations. To date, we've already achieved a further 3% reduction, bringing our full progress to 16% thus far. We also recognize the urgency to do more and to do so faster. Towards this, we will announce our 2050 roadmap and associated greenhouse gas reduction ambition for our South African, North American, and European operations later this year at our Capital Markets Day. In addition, taking into account recent partnership developments and stakeholder feedback, Sasol also began the process of assessing whether a greater reduction in emissions could be realized in the 2030 timeframe. This work is ongoing, and further information will be forthcoming when we make our 2050 ambition announcements. Our assessments are very much in line with the recent announcements by Minister Creasy regarding South Africa's updated nationally determined contribution, or the so-called NDC, currently out for public consultation. The proposed change and lowering of the upper range of the NDC for 2025 and 2030 is prudent in a changing global landscape. Sasol believes there is immense potential in the energy transition, both for Sasol and South Africa, in the form of greener energy and the pivot away from coal as the primary feedstock. A well-coordinated, fit-for-purpose energy transition plan, considering South Africa's national context, presents an opportunity to leverage some of the country's greatest endowments, such as wind and sun, the platinum group metals resources, our mining expertise, and relatively young population, which offers a huge talent pool to successfully transition to a more sustainable energy future. This will not only ensure a just transition for all, but also potentially unlock new value chains and economic activity to move the country forward. Here, Sasol is uniquely positioned to play a leading role in South Africa's energy transition through our own Fischer-Tropsch technology and expertise. Sasol's experience, intellectual capability, and existing asset base can be a catalyst for the country's energy transition. Today, Fischer-Tropsch technologies are generally associated with fossil fuels, feedstocks, and high emissions. However, Sasol's proprietary, commercially proven processes are also fully compatible with green feedstocks and can produce sustainable products very much sought after in a low carbon world. In fact, many of our counterparts do not have such an ability to readily transform to using green feedstocks. To illustrate this potential and paint a picture of Sasol of the future for you, I would like to share some perspectives of our vision of how we see sustainable Fischer-Tropsch processes playing a leading role in the energy transition. Our aspirations for future Sasol is to position the company that is focused, streamlined, and successful through our people and innovation. We want to transition Sasol as fast as we responsibly can into a net zero environment, taking into account our different legal and stakeholder responsibilities, as well as economic imperatives. We have been acutely aware that the utilization of coal is challenged into the future. Therefore, we have been actively looking for sustainable feedstocks and pursuing newer, cleaner technologies critical to help us achieve our long-term greenhouse gas ambitions. Technologies such as carbon capture, utilization and storage, and green hydrogen, while critical, are still some way off in reaching affordable cost levels required to fully transform our operations. Nonetheless, we are committed to taking the necessary steps to enable this transition. Given the long road ahead, we believe gas has a critical role to play in bridging this gap from where we are today and where we need to be. As part of our focus on transforming our operations, we are exploring the sourcing of gas as a transitional feedstock. Our Secunda operations currently produces 2.3 million tons of hydrogen from coal and gas-based feedstocks. It is this hydrogen production process that is responsible for approximately 50% of our greenhouse gas emissions at Secunda. Alternatively, if we are able to source affordable gas, we could significantly reduce emissions sooner, while laying the foundation to springboard into lower carbon feedstocks once costs come down. In support of leading the renewable energy transition this year, we made good on our intention to jointly procure 900 megawatts of renewable energy for our Secunda operations with our partners Air Liquide. This represents a 50% increase from our original announcement last year of 600 megawatt, and it is the largest private sector procurement of renewable energy in South Africa. Not only is this significant, but it also encourages growth of renewable energy industry and the potential for job creation in the country. This is the first of many key milestones to decarbonize our operations. Here, we will also collaborate with other industries, and we have aligned with Eskom to focus on maximizing local content for renewable energy equipment, specifically in Mpumalanga. Finally, for the shift pillar, our emission reduction framework, we are focused on driving value through lower carbon businesses and products. As a start, we divested from some of our coal reserves not linked to our South African energy business and committed to not investing in growing our coal business beyond the 40 million tons per annum. We anticipate our coal usage to reduce over time, which may take decades in tandem with our emission reduction roadmaps and growth in lower carbon feedstocks. Recently, we've entered into agreement with Air Liquide for the sale of our air separation units, a transaction which is still subject to Competition Commission approval, and Air Liquide had further announced and committed to reducing the greenhouse gas footprint of these units, ultimately increasing reductions for our Secunda site. But the most exciting element of our shift pillar is the potential to use green hydrogen as a feedstock in our operations to produce sustainable fuels and chemicals for society at large. Green hydrogen is currently enjoying unprecedented political and business momentum, with a number of policies and projects expanding rapidly around the world. Sasol believes it is the right time to tap into hydrogen's potential to realize a clean, secure, and affordable energy future for South Africa, and we are well positioned to play a leading role in creating this reality. Green hydrogen can help tackle various critical energy challenges. It is emerging as a strong option to decarbonize sectors such as long-haul transport, heavy-duty mobility, chemicals, and the iron and steel industry, where it's proving difficult to meaningfully reduce carbon emissions. In South Africa, green hydrogen is buoyed by several tailwinds. South Africa's natural energy endowment of both sun and wind, information on renewable resources list South Africa alongside Australia, the Middle East, North Africa, and Chile as the countries with the best renewable energy endowments globally. Secondly, a strong pool is created by ambitious decarbonization pathways required to meet the 2050 global greenhouse gas emission targets. And thirdly, South Africa is home to most of the world's platinum group metals, which are critical inputs for the green hydrogen economy. Furthermore, industry momentum and depth across the globe can be seen in the size and number of large-scale hydrogen projects around the world. The alignment with government incentives to support adoption and the scale-up of technology, and the forming of ecosystems and partnerships by companies to fast-track the implementation of end-to-end solutions. All of this works together to create a positive spiral of innovation and scale-up that results in cost reductions of renewable energy and lately also projected cost reductions in electrolysis, which again supports further investments, adoption, and job creation. As mentioned earlier, Sasol is uniquely positioned to play a leading role in the growth of South Africa's green hydrogen economy. We have broad experience in the production, use, and marketing of grey hydrogen. We have over the years built the capacity to operate and manage complex integrated global value chains. Our proprietary Fischer-Tropsch and catalyst technologies and existing infrastructure are uniquely placed to enable the production of sustainable synthetic fuels and chemicals utilizing green hydrogen as a feedstock. In addition, several of our global assets can be repurposed to take in green hydrogen and renewable carbon sources to produce sustainable products. Built over many years, the Sasol global brand has become known as a provider of technology and quality products supported by an active research and development program. The scale at which Sasol can eventually deploy green hydrogen is substantial, requiring tens of gigawatts of renewable energy. With conducive market and enabling policy, Sasol could be the anchor for developing renewable energy and electrolyzer value chains in the country, creating jobs and lowering costs for the benefit of all South Africans through localization. Sasol is currently evaluating several opportunities to leverage our assets and Fischer-Tropsch technology to support the growth of this sector and is exploring opportunities at both our Sasolburg and Secunda operations. In addition, standalone greenfield projects are also under consideration where our technology can be licensed or implemented to grow new value pools. We have recently announced that we will be working alongside a consortium comprising Linde, Enetrag, and Navitas, the LEN consortium, to bid in a concept for the production of sustainable aviation fuel under the auspices of the German Federal H2 Global Auction Platform, utilizing our Secunda Synfuels plant. This represents another key milestone in our decarbonization journey. Another focus area for us is to provide a comprehensive and sustainable mobility solution for South Africa. Hydrogen and electrical vehicles with refueling and charging infrastructure form part of this sustainable future. Sasol believes hydrogen mobility is a real opportunity for the country to decarbonize the sectors of long-haul and heavy-duty transport in mining and others. We see the creation of hydrogen hubs or ecosystems as a practical and affordable way to scale the deployment of hydrogen in the transport sector. In this regard, we also recently announced a partnership with Toyota to jointly pursue the development of a proof of concept demonstration for a green hydrogen mobility ecosystem in South Africa. Together with Toyota, we intend to develop a hydrogen mobility corridor and expand the demonstration to a pilot project using one of South Africa's main freight corridors, such as the N3 between Durban and Johannesburg, for hydrogen-powered heavy-duty long-haul trucks. We also acknowledge the recent announcements of Anglo in this regard, which bodes well for further collaboration in this regard. As you can see, we are forging ahead with real and tangible opportunities. Sasol's journey to green hydrogen commercialization has already commenced with the aim of playing a leading role in enabling green hydrogen economy in South Africa, using the country's combination of renewable energy endowments, rich mineral resources, and technical capabilities. We believe South Africa can take a prominent, if not a leading role, in the global hydrogen economy. Let me state clearly that while the perspectives I have shared today capture the opportunity we see with green hydrogen and how this will support Sasol's sustainable future trajectory, we are not yet at the point where this translates into fully scoped projects and frameworks. We will share more information on our long-term strategy and the role of hydrogen at our Capital Markets Day later in this year. To conclude, Sasol and South Africa's transition to a lower carbon world is not going to be easy. We believe that a clear national vision and strategy, enabled by sound policy and regulatory frameworks, access to requisite financing and effective partnerships, including public-private partnerships, are all key enablers to ensuring a successful, just, and equitable energy transition. Here, we see the Presidential Climate Change Coordinating Commission playing a pivotal role in facilitating a common understanding and approach for such a just transition. We see the transition as a national and indeed a global perspective and imperative. We are actually aware of our country's developmental challenges and that these must be part of the discussion and plan for a just transition. Sasol's journey to decarbonize our operations is guided by our new Sasol purpose, which is innovating for a better world. We are truly excited by the potential of South Africa's energy transition and the opportunities it presents. And we are looking forward to making a difference together in South Africa. I thank you for listening.